Hello, I'm Paul Pluta from Paul Pluta Prestige, and today we're talking about the Datejust 1601. And this here, the 1601, was a absolutely cracker of a model for Rolex. Although 1601s aren't valuable in the sense that a vintage Submariner or a GMT is valuable, they're still a very historically significant piece. And the 1601 itself is a piece that came out in the early 60s and went until the late 70s. And the thing about the 1601 was it was available in a number of combinations. It was available in all steel, it was available in all gold, and it was available in two-tone. And two-tone itself became the lifeblood, the bread and butter of the Rolex monopoly. And the interesting thing is that the two-tone feature itself is something that really didn't kick off until 1962 when the two-tone model was released. And the 1601 itself, what is it? Well, it's an automatic Rolex with a date feature, and it really became one of the best-selling Rolexes of all time. The 1601 itself there also came on a Jubilee type bracelet or an oyster bracelet, very popular on the Jubilee. And in the 70s, if you were a man of substance, if you were a mover and a shaker, or at least if you thought you were, a Datejust in two-tone was the watch to have. And the Datejust itself, it shares its movement with other automatic Rolexes of the time, like a Submariner, and also the slightly smaller date version. The Datejust itself there became the main spread of the Rolex range, and different models evolved over time, but for the most part, the 1601 really has a lot of significance. The movement was not quick set, so to actually change the date, you had to wind the hands round and round and round. However, you could always reverse if you went too far. And the 1601 later on changed to a 5-digit code. Rolex's 4-digit code were more for pieces which didn't have the quick set date. The 1601 then evolved into the 16013 for the two-tone model, the 16014 for the steel with white gold bezel, and various other variations on that theme. But the 1601 itself is always one of the most iconic Rolexes. Early in the piece, it had a step type of dial, and to find a good condition Datejust with one of these dials is quite a find. And I had a friend of mine who did secure one, and then he sold it to buy a sports watch, and that's really a bit of a shame, I must say, because the Datejust is really a significant Rolex to have, and it's just so versatile. And the Datejust itself, don't ever forget, it may not bring the huge prices like plastic Sea Dwellers and Submariners and Explorers bring, but it's every bit a true Rolex, and in its day it would have been similar, if not more money, than Rolex sports watches. Okay, let's go through the score there. For the brand, I'm going to give it a 7. For the status of this model in the range, I'm going to give it an 8. For the movement, I'm going to give it a 7. For the overall quality, finish and workmanship, I'm going to give it a 7. And the Paul Pluta Prestige rating, I'm going to give the 1601 an 8. Tally that all up, and we have 37, which is quite a good score. There we go. The Rolex 1601 rates 37.